জি।
ওকে স্যার।
দাদা আপনার ভিডিওটা অন করে নেন।
হ্যাঁ করতেছি।
ফেসবুকে
ওকে।
লাইভ হচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ
ফেসবুকে লাইভ হচ্ছে আর কি প্রোগ্রাম।
তারপর শুরু করলাম স্যার।
হুম।
Okay, good evening, dear audience, and welcome to today's scientific webinar. Today, our topic is very time-demanding topic. Our topic is COVID-19 infection and kidney. Today, our speaker is one of the renowned nephrologists of our country, Dr. M. Wahab Khan, sir. He is with us. He will deliver his valuable speech on this topic, and you can participate in this webinar with your question and answer or add any of your valuable opinion. So, with no delay, I'd like to start today's session. I'm inviting our speaker for his presentation. Sir, start please.
Yes.
স্যার এবার আপনি শেয়ার
And
স্ক্রিনে
you should
যান।
mention that today's webinar is sponsored by Square Pharmaceuticals Limited. Thank you, sir.
আচ্ছা, ইয়াটা স্ক্রিনটা কেমন নিয়ে?
জি স্যার আপনি শেয়ার স্ক্রিনে যাবেন স্যার, ক্লিক করেন
হ্যাঁ,
স্যার শেয়ার স্ক্রিনে
হ্যাঁ।
গিয়ে।
শেয়ার স্ক্রিনে গেলাম।
হ্যাঁ ক্লিক করবেন স্যার শেয়ার স্ক্রিনে। জি স্যার।
করলাম,
স্যার এবার আপনার প্রেজেন্টেশনটা স্যার আপনি
অন করব।
অন করবেন স্যার।
করলাম।
বড় করে দিবেন স্যার প্রেজেন্টেশনটা, বিগ স্ক্রিন দিয়ে দিবেন স্যার, ডান পাশেরটা স্যার ছোট হয়ে গিয়েছে স্যার, আবার একটু হ্যাঁ জি স্যার। এবার স্যার আপনি হ্যাঁ ওই যে স্যার স্লাইড শেয়ার অপশনটা ক্লিক করবেন স্যার।
করলাম।
হ্যাঁ জি স্যার, ওকে স্যার দেখা যাচ্ছে স্যার।
দেখা যাচ্ছে?
জি স্যার, জি স্যার।
আমাকে দেখা যাচ্ছে?
জি স্যার আপনাকেও দেখা যাচ্ছে স্যার, আপনার প্রেজেন্টেশনও দেখা যাচ্ছে, এবং এই প্রেজেন্টেশন আপনাকে আমাদের ফেসবুকের প্রায় কয়েক হাজার দর্শকও দেখতে পাচ্ছে।
আমরা ফেসবুকে এটা শেয়ার করে দিচ্ছি স্যার।
আচ্ছা, welcome everybody, learned audience. I will speak on coronavirus infection. It is pandemic all over pandemic existing all over the world, and it is whole world is under threat of coronavirus infection. Coronavirus can happen in a kidney disease patient, and moreover coronavirus may cause a kidney disease. So with the nephrologists are involved in many ways with the coronavirus infection. So now everybody we know it is a group of virus under the family of the coronavirus. It affects both man and animal and can cause disease from mild to severe disease. Several outbreaks happened by the coronavirus, such as SARS, MERS, etc. So what is the virus? It is an enveloped virus. We know the virus is an incomplete organism. Either it contains some DNA particles or RNA particles. It is an RNA virus, and it has capsule and have a cleft-shaped appearance. That is why it is called coronavirus. And size is comparatively bigger. Size is about 120 nanometer. So due to glycoprotein on the surface, it gives a appearance of corona, and that is why it is called coronavirus. And we know it happened in the Wuhan city of the China during the month of December 2019. And it has the homing effect to the respiratory tract, and that is why it causes respiratory tract infection. And most of the patients suffers from mild respiratory illness and recover. Only few people, about 20% people, have severe disease. Yes, and so in an average, about one patient out of 5 people may get severe disease and severe illness, may need hospitalization, may need treatment in hospital. Who are at risk? Any people can be seriously ill. However, older patient and those have some medical problem like high blood pressure, cardiac disease, lung disease, chronic kidney disease, renal transplant patients, diabetes, cancer, and patient on immunosuppressive drugs may have increased risk. So, as the older patient, high blood pressure, CKD, renal transplant, diabetes, and immunosuppression condition, or in many ways, nephrologists are involved with the coronavirus infection and its patients. And when to think patient at risk with coronavirus infection, if the patient have fever or cough and which is associated with the difficulty in breathing and shortness of breath, and having chest pain or compression of the chest and confusion, or if there is loss of speech, then we have to think patient is in severe condition. So case definition. What is the suspected case? If the patient having respiratory illness, flu-like symptoms, do not have any X-ray change, and do not have any corona test positive, that is RNA is not positive, and but patient having the history of travel to the prevailing area of the coronavirus infection and residing in an area where the coronavirus is prevailing, and any exposure to the patient with coronavirus infection, then it is called the suspected case. What is the probable case? And the suspected case, the testing of coronavirus is inconclusive, but there is some radiological changes, laboratory changes, but it is not proven by the RT-PCR test. Then it is the probable case. And confirmed case is when it is fulfill the all the criteria, or it is positive for the RT-PCR. So who is the contact? It is very important, because any person not having any symptom at present, but who are exposed to the probable case or confirmed case. And what is the contact time? And important, if it is patient having the contact with the within the 2 days to 14 days of the onset of the symptoms, then this is the important time, and chance of getting infection is high. And how the contact can happen? Yes, face-to-face contact, when the any person is remain very close, about less than 1 meter, more than 15 minutes, then we have to say this person is exposed to the coronavirus infection. Or direct physical contact with the probable or confirmed cases, and direct care of the probable or confirmed cases, and cases without any proper personal protective equipment, and in other situation indicated by the local risk assessment, or such as if it is not properly explained, it is in doubtful condition, may have infection and may have some symptoms of the exposure person, then it is seems to be the have a contact. It is important to say when the health persons, healthcare provider treated the patients, though they remain in with protective equipment, but after certain time they are remain isolated because they may have accidental exposure. They may protective equipment may not be wear all the time, or any by any means may have protective mechanism may fail. So that is why they are, though they are in uh, with the protective equipment, with the benefit of doubt, they keep in isolation after certain times. As already I told, the disease is presented with the mild illness, the mild illness, that is influenza-like symptoms, like other influenza. It may present with the pneumonia and or severe pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome, sepsis, or septic shock. These are the presentation. Mild illness, which I already told, uncomplicated respiratory tract infection, like other viral disease, may have such cough, fever, fatigue, running, nasal congestion, etc. Pneumonia, patient have a radiological feature of pneumonia, but no sign of severe pneumonia and no need of oxygen supplementation, then it is called pneumonia. And when patient having a radiological feature and respiratory rate is greater than 30, severe respiratory distress, and oxygen saturation in room air less than 93, equal to or less than 10, then it is called severe pneumonia. Acute respiratory distress syndrome, it happens in the early part of the coronavirus infection, usually in the first week, and it occurs very rapidly and having rapid worsening of the respiratory system, and it is explained by the method of exclusion, by exclusion of the volume overload, other chest infection, as well as bilateral pneumonia, by the X-ray, ECG, echo, and other relevant investigation. If does not match with those things, then patient having the coronavirus infection, COVID infection, then it is called acute respiratory distress syndrome due to COVID infection. And acute respiratory distress syndrome or ARDS is classified in mild, moderate, and severe. While the partial pressure of the oxygen and ratio of the partial pressure of oxygen and FiO2 remains within the range of 200 to 300, then it is called mild ARDS. And when the ratio of the partial pressure of the oxygen and FiO2 remains within the range of 100 to 200 with the PEEP of 5, then it is called moderate ARDS. When the partial pressure of oxygen ratio of the partial pressure of oxygen and FiO2 remain less than 100 millimeter, then it is called severe ARDS. And the sepsis, yes, with the patient having the COVID infection and all other features of sepsis, like other condition of the sepsis, altered mentation, difficulty of breathing, low oxygen saturation, reduced urine output, tachycardia, weak pulse, etc. And these are in laboratory investigations are almost same with the other septic shock, septic condition. And septic shock, yes, when the sepsis is progressed further, then leading to patient in shock, and shock is measured by the if it is not possible to maintain the mean arterial pressure more than 65 millimeter of mercury with the help of vasopressors, and if the lactic acid level is raised to 2 millimole per liter, then we have to say septic shock. And how we detect the virus? It is a specimen usually taken from the upper respiratory tract, such as oropharyngeal swab, nasal swab, nasopharyngeal secretions, lower respiratory tract sputum, bronchoalveolar lavage, and other respiratory tract infection. And one should keep in mind, virus shedding happens more during the period of 3 to 5 days of the onset of the disease, and this is after taking the sample from this area, it is detected by the RT-PCR measure. But other antigen antibody test, that is so what we call rapid test, is prevailing, but those are not available in our country. In X-ray, yes, there is some difference between the bacterial and viral pneumonia. High resolution CT shows the evidence of lung involvement. One should keep in mind about 7 to 10 days before the appearance of the X-ray in chest, it appears in the CT scan. So CT scan is the ideal way to detect the lung involvement. And what is the difference between the bacterial pneumonia and the viral pneumonia? One should understand is because that is why due to this difference, outcome is not good as compared to the bacterial pneumonia. Viral pneumonia usually happens, all viral pneumonia, including the coronavirus COVID infection, pneumonia happen in both lungs, all the lobes are affected. But in a bacterial infection, usually it happens in a single lung or single lobes or lobules. And once it involves both lungs and all the lobes and lobules, so that is why hypoxia is very much prevalent. One important peculiarity is in COVID infection is that COVID pneumonia do not have or have any pleural effusion compared to the other pneumonia. These are the X-rays. Sometimes in X-ray, there may be some feature of biliary mottling like as well. And there is some basic difference in the bacterial infection and viral infection. In this case, unless secondary infection, most of the cases there may be usually have the leukocyte count is normal, but with or low, there may be lymphopenia, leukopenia. Leukocytosis is rare and or less common, and thrombocytopenia, cytopenia also less common, but can happen. That is why careful interpretation is needed. Even patient with a fever, many other conditions also have leukopenia or lymphopenia. But in severe bacterial infection, usually have leukocytosis. And like other, and here one important thing, neutrophil and lymphocyte ratio should be calculated. If the neutrophil and lymphocyte ratio is more than 3.5, it indicates aggressive disease, outcome usually not worse. Other condition like marker of the infection like CRP and procalcitonin in early stage may not be raised, but without bacterial infection there may be rise of CRP or procalcitonin, but it could be associated with the bacterial infection as well. And D-dimer also with or without infection may be elevated. Bacterial infection may be elevated and so needs careful interpretations. And we may need to exclude the infection, the blood culture. It may involve the viremia virus may spread in the blood. So all other organ may be involved. So liver and kidney function to be assessed, and according to clinical condition, other condition, many other investigations to be done by the physician's decision. Yes, this is the recommendations. How one should be protected from the anticipated contact. Here, the reception person should have only hygiene. Recommendation is only hand hygiene, but I think it is not adequate. At least should have surgical mask, because reception persons usually remain close to the person, and triage staff usually, yes, they should have hand hygiene as well as surgical mask. And healthcare worker attending to the patient, to the patient in the routine, for the routine examination, here recommended that N95 mask is not needed, but I think it is not proper. If it is not given, healthcare providers should get more infection that happening in our country. And when the healthcare provider is giving the service of the ill patient, then needs hand hygiene, eye hygiene, eye protection, and protective mask and gowns and other, etc. Housekeeping staffs also should have hand hygiene, surgical mask, aprons and other dressing. Yes, staff for transporting the patient, here they recommended the only hand hygiene, but I think it is not adequate. At least surgical mask there should be. As with this recommendation, initial health service is started. That is why any healthcare service provider infection rate is very much higher in our country. Yes, all of you know this. I'll go just fast. Along with the soap, we can use the alcohol-based soap also for hand washing. And other condition, it is very well. Here we should use indoor and outdoor shoes to protect ourselves. And one important thing, with the people usually use the hand towel or tissue when we're touching the door knobs, lights, switches, and lift buttons, etc. But we do not throw it; we keep it in pocket. So it is this is not ideal. You use your hand towel or tissue, yeah, but it should be drop it out. And usually it's not done in our country. That is also one of the important cause of break of the infection control prevention measures. So, you will do follow all the measures, and you will take some necessary measures according to your concern and your judgment. What I told early, it can happen in the animal and as well as human. So anything live or alive animals product should be washed and properly cooked before eating. And another important talk, who will wear the mask? If you are sick, you should wear the mask. If you are in around the people, so you will wear the mask. That is, you are in the out of the home, in the street, any crowding area, in the market, you must any prayer place, you must wear the mask. And you are visiting the health facility, or that is, you are going to the hospital or any diagnostic center, you must wear the mask. And if you are carrying the someone who are sick, you must wear the mask. And treatment. All the patients do not require hospital admission. Only high risk people to be admitted in the hospital, and otherwise nutritional and supportive care is enough. Who are the critical? So in the management category, mild influenza-like patients do not require any hospitalization, usually enough. And pneumonia patient, if it only fulfills the CRB criteria, then require hospitalization, otherwise not. But patient with severe disease, that is severe pneumonia and sepsis, needs hospitalization. ARDS and septic, also this needs hospitalization, may need even ICU support. So what I told, the hospitalization, yes. What is the CRB criteria? Any patient having older than 65, having confusion, respiratory rate greater than 30, blood pressure, systolic blood pressure is less than 90 millimeter, or diastolic blood pressure less than 60 millimeter, they need hospitalization. They fulfill the so any patient more than 65 years may not have severe disease, may have pneumonia, should be admitted, as it fulfill the criteria 1. So any patient having so if 3 or more needs urgent hospitalization. One important thing, older people are greater risk of polypharmacy. So during the treatment, multidisciplinary approach may needed, and along with supportive therapy, antibiotic is needed, but one should keep it in mind. Older people may have greater risk, particularly if any polypharmacy is done, and that is why polypharmacy should be avoided, particularly older people. And what drugs to be effective? Actually, there is no specific drug for the treatment of the COVID infection. Some broad spectrum antiviral drugs we are using. Of them, experimental use of it shows that it is better therapeutic response in COVID in terms of disease progression and viral clearance. And but it is not does not reduces the hospital admission rate or ICU admission rate. Similarly, if the favipiravir is used, 40% patient achieve faster cure, clinical cure, and here about half of the patient achieve cure by the 4 days, but statistical it is not significant. Among the clinically deteriorated condition, oxygen support and others requirement does not vary significantly. Tocilizumab is used, but in conclusion, primary analysis suggests that tocilizumab do not reduce the ICU admission and mortality. Conversely, some laboratory markers improved in patients with treated with tocilizumab tocilizumab, but ALT is altered. So, in such way, it should be opined that it is not useless in COVID pandemic situation, but use but effective not yet determined. Effectiveness is yet not determined. Convalescence plasma therapy, yes, a small series of shows some encouragement, but there is no proven benefit. Sorry. On the other hand, convalescent plasma therapy carries some risk like allergic reaction, lung damage and difficulty in breathing, transmission of the blood transfusion related infections, etc. According to FDA, state that important to determine the safety and efficacy via the clinical trials before routinely administering the convalescent plasma to the patient with COVID infected patients. Remdesivir also not much effective. So when to discharge the patient? Patient should be discharged if there is two consecutive force of are negative collected with an interval of 24 hours and body temperature remaining normal for 3 days, symptoms significantly improved, obvious absorption of lung changes. Patient should be discharged. How they should be? It is not necessary to continue the antiviral drugs after the discharge. And then home, it is first follow-up should be within the 48 hours of the patient, and subsequently at 1 week and 2 weeks there should be follow-ups, and subsequently may need further follow-up. As I told before, COVID infection may lead to kidney disease, and COVID infection can happen in renal patients. In average, there is a disorder of proteinuria, albuminuria, hematuria, and there may be both proteinuria and hematuria as well, about 1/3 to half of the patients. And about a good number of patients develop AKI. Many of them need renal replacement therapy. And about 8% patient, 5 to 8% patient may require ICU. This happens in the ICU settings. Others happens in the general ward. So many develop new diabetes, hypertension, and many of the disease may progress to CKD. COVID infection is a very particular patient in CKD, particularly those are on hemodialysis, because uremic patients are particularly vulnerable to infections. Many exhibit greater variation of clinical symptoms and infectivity, and they used to come in the hospital, so they are at risk of having the disease and spreading the disease to the hospital workers and staffs. So what the symptoms in a patient with renal disease? Fever is common. Cough is almost all the patient having the fever. Majority patient having the cough, and some other patient usually have myalgia and fatigue. Yes, some of the kidney patients have transplant patient develop COVID, and their outcome is also kidney function is also altered, and some of the patient needs hospitalization and ICU treatment, and about significant number of patients usually have the graft dysfunction, and few patients we have to lose. Usually, same treatment is continued. In some cases, may need some reduction of the immunosuppressive agent, but it should be done very cautiously. Yes. Recommendation of the protective layer, yes, same as the others, but in dialysis unit, some few is one special situation is that patient should be have sanitization, and some at the entry to the dialysis unit, they should be examined before, and if any symptoms, they should be separated. In dialysis unit, all the measures are common, but one thing, few things are very important. Patient should have separate route of entry and exit from the dialysis unit, and dialysis patient can be dialysis in the same unit, or it is better to have a separate unit. If in the same unit, patient should be kept apart about 6 meter ahead, apart. And dialysis unit caregiver should not cross over the area. So those staffs are doing the dialysis of the COVID positive patients. They should not do the dialysis of the COVID negative patients. These are the fundamental difference. Other measures are same as in the general measures. And dialysis patient staff, and another additional measures is they should wear a slip plastic apron, and separating the equipment, stethoscope and others. These are already told. And patient having dialysis should avoid the meal during the dialysis, because during the meal, patient should remove the mask, and there may be a chance of spreading the infection, as well as they should talk less, because during the food intake, if they talk more, there is a chance of spreading the disease. What I told before, these are the same. Patient can be dialysis in the same unit, or it could be in a separate unit, and dialysis personnel and shift should not be crossover. Another burden in patient with dialysis, because they need vascular access. So it is a very difficult situation. So extra protection is required because of it during the acute vascular access. Jugular vascular is very much close to the when to done the jugular vascular access, patient and healthcare provider come is very close to the mouth to mouth. And similarly, vascular surgery also sometimes needs to do, and it may carries extra burden to the healthcare provider to having the disease. What I told, transfer, entering and exit, these are the already explained. These are the should be dress should be like this. All body should be covered, and all the measures should be taken. These are all known to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, dear audience, now you can participate with your questions. A speaker will give the answers of your questions. You can raise your hand or put your questions in chat box, please.
স্যার একটু রিকোয়েস্ট করবো স্যার, আপনি শেয়ার স্ক্রিনটা একটু অফ করে দিবেন, তাহলে আমরা সবার পার্টিসিপেন্ট সবাইকে দেখতে পারতাম। অফ স্যার বলছিলাম।
উপরে
হ্যাঁ জি স্যার, উপরে মিডিলে স্যার।
এটা তো অফ হচ্ছে না।
আর উপরে স্যার, আর উপরের দিকে
নিউ শেয়ার।
হ্যাঁ শেয়ার স্ক্রিন না স্যার, শেয়ার স্ক্রিন নিচে দেখবেন স্যার স্টপ শেয়ার স্ক্রিন নামে একটা অপশন আছে স্যার।
ও ইয়া
জি স্যার, জি স্যার। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার। দাদা
হ্যাঁ বলো আদনান।
না ওইভাবে আমরা কোশ্চেন আমরা ফেসবুকেও দেখছি, আসলে ওইভাবে কোশ্চেন মনে স্যারকে ই করে নাই, সবাই স্যারের এটা খুব ভালো মতো বুঝেছে। তো আমার মনে হয় ওইভাবে কোনো কোশ্চেন নাই দাদা।
স্যার
জি
স্যার, I have a question, sir.
কি কোশ্চেন বলেন?
Sir, now it is common that is with COVID-19 patients comes with the complaints of gastroenteritis commonly, sir.
Yes, many patients have gastroenteritis as well,
Yes, sir.
and
With
many
mainly
have
diarrhea, the complaint of diarrhea.
yes, many have anosmia as well.
Yes, sir. So
They,
is it possible that is COVID-19 patient complains with some kidney problems like AKI or acute
yes, yes,
UTI? Is it possible, sir?
yes, possible. Some patient present with proteinuria hematuria, it is about 20% in an average.
20%.
In an average, some sorts of disorder.
Okay, sir. Because I think no questions, no more questions with us. So, sir, you can tell something with conclusion speech.
অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমি যেটা ফিল করি, আমি ইনিশিয়ালি এখানে কয়েকজনই করোনা চিকিৎসা করে। আমি যদিও ঠিক ওইভাবে না, আমি শুধু আমার রোগীগুলো যে নেফ্রোলজির যে পেশেন্টগুলো সেগুলো আমি অ্যাডমিট করছি আমার আন্ডারে, এবং সিগনিফিকেন্ট নাম্বার অফ করোনা ভাইরাস ইনফেকশন ছিল আমার রোগীগুলোর। তা সবাই যেটা নানান ড্রাগ ইউজ করছে, কিন্তু আমি কিন্তু আসলে তেমন কোনো কিছুই করি নাই। সিম্পলি আমি অ্যান্টিবায়োটিকের মধ্যে ডক্সাসাইক্লিন আর এজিথ্রোমাইসিন ইউজ করছি। তো সবাই মোটামুটি এখন এটাও একটা বক্তব্য যে আমার পেশেন্টগুলো বেশ ভালো ছিল। ভার্চুয়ালি আরএনএ আর ডিএনএ সিনথেসিস, আমি যদি টেট্রাসাইক্লিন বা ডক্সাসাইক্লিন দেখি, এরা কিন্তু আরএনএ বা ডিএনএ সিনথেসিসকে ইনহিবিশন করে। এরকম একটা কনসেপ্ট থেকে আমি ইভেন কর্টিমক্সাজলও ইউজ করছি। তো এগুলা যে একটা সেকেন্ডারি ইনফেকশন প্রোটেকশনের জন্য যেমন একটা অ্যান্টিবায়োটিক হিসাবে কাজ করছে, ঠিক আমার মনে হয় যে কিছুটা কাজ করছে। আমরা যে যতগুলো অ্যান্টিভাইরাল এখন ইম্পেরিক্যাল ইউজ করা হচ্ছে, প্রত্যেকটাই আসলে ব্রড স্পেকট্রাম অ্যান্টিভাইরাল ড্রাগ, নট স্পেসিফিক ফর দ্য কোভিড। যেহেতু ব্রড স্পেকট্রাম অ্যান্টিভাইরাল ড্রাগ, সেই হোপ থেকেই এগুলোকে ব্যবহার করা হয়েছে। হ্যাঁ, এবং নিটাজক্সামাইডও ইউজ করা হয়েছে। তো এটাও ঠিক একই মেট্রোনিডাজলের মতোই। মেট্রোনিডাজলও আসলে ডিএনএ আরএনএ সিনথেসিস ইনহিবিশন করে মেকানিজম অফ অ্যাকশনে। তো নিটাজক্সামাইডও ইউজ করা হয়েছে, করে তেমন বেনিফিট আসে নাই সিগনিফিকেন্টলি, বাট এটা ইউজ করা হয়েছে। আরেকটা জিনিস যেটা হলো যে WHO ডায়ালাইসিস একটা রিকমেন্ডেশন ছিল, সেটা আসলে একটা মিসলিড হয়েছে। ওরা বলছিল যে তোমরা ডায়ালাইসিস একটু কমায় দিতে হবে, 2 ঘন্টা 4 ঘন্টার জায়গায় 3 ঘন্টা করতে হবে। আসলে ওদের সেন্সেশনটা ছিল যে যদি পেশেন্টের লোড অ্যাকোমোডেট করা না যায়, তাহলে আসলে ডায়ালাইসিসটা কমাতে বলছে ওরা। কিন্তু আমার দৃষ্টিতে যেটা হলো, যখন লাং ইনভলভমেন্ট হয়ে যায়, তখন শ্বাসকষ্ট বেশি হয়, তখন যদি ভলিউম ওভারলোড হওয়ার সুযোগ দেওয়া যায়, তাহলে আরো বেশি খারাপ হয়।
ডিস্ট্রেসটা বেশি হবে।
হ্যাঁ, ডিস্ট্রেসটা বেশি হবে। সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি সবগুলো পেশেন্টকে এভরি অল্টারনেট ডেতেই ডায়ালাইসিস করেছি, এবং কিছু কিছু পেশেন্টকে ডেইলিও ডায়ালাইসিস করছি, যার ফলে আমার ফলাফল ভালো। আমি যেটা মনে করছিলাম যে আমার বা বাইরের যে ডাটাগুলো ছিল, অ্যাবাউট 40% পেশেন্ট মারা যায়, আমার বোধহয় 10 to 15% পেশেন্ট মারা গেছে এরকম। তো এরকম
স্যার, একটা জিনিস জানলাম স্যার, যে আমরা এতদিন জানতাম যে অ্যান্টিবায়োটিক জাস্ট সেকেন্ডারি ইনফেকশন প্রিভেন্ট করার জন্য দেওয়া যায়, যেমন জানলাম যে স্যার অ্যান্টিবায়োটিক আসলে কিছুটা অ্যান্টিভাইরাল হিসেবে এখানে কাজ করতেছে।
মানে কতগুলা যেগুলা ইউজ করছে সবাই, সেগুলা ওইভাবেই আসছে, মানে আরএনএ ডিএনএ সিনথেসিস ইনহিবিশন করে যে ড্রাগ গুলো, সেগুলোও কিছুটা ওইভাবেই কাজ করে।
তো স্যার আইভারমেকটিনের রোলটা কি স্যার এখানে?
এইখানেও আইভারমেকটিন তো একই রকম, এগুলো তো অ্যান্টিপ্যারাসাইটিক, এগুলো আলটিমেটলি মোড অফ অ্যাকশনের মধ্যে একই রকম। হ্যাঁ, এগুলো তো অ্যান্টিপ্যারাসাইটিক ড্রাগ, এগুলোও আলটিমেটলি ওই আরএনএ ডিএনএ সিনথেসিস ইনহিবিশন করে। মানে ইভেন আপনি যদি বলেন অল দ্য ব্যাকটেরিস্টেটিক ড্রাগ যেগুলো আছে, সেগুলোও তো আলটিমেটলি সবই ওই আরএনএ এবং ডিএনএ সিনথেসিস ইনহিবিশনই হয়। হ্যাঁ।
Okay, any queries from anybody? তাহলে স্যার আমরা শেষ করে দিই স্যার।
আচ্ছা।
Okay sir. Okay, dear participants, now we are at the end of the today's program. Thank you everybody for your kind participation. and especially our speaker for giving us valuable time for his very busy schedule. So dear audience, now we are at the end of today's program. Finally, I'm requesting for his vote of thanks on behalf of Spire Pharmaceuticals Limited, the manager of Medical Services Department, Dr. Shamim, to have something and conclude the session. Please, Dr. Shamim.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dhruvo. Host, am I audible?
Audible.
Yes, audible.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dhruvo, for introducing me. I'm Dr. Mahfuzur Rahman Shikhar, Manager of Medical Services Department. It's my honor and privilege to be here to give a vote of thanks of this scientific webinar. I must thank Abdul Wahab Khan sir for your very nice faces and very informative presentations. I must say the very time demanding topic today, COVID-19 and kidney, and it will be definitely helpful for the participants to enhance their knowledge and to implement for their treatment, for the management in this crucial time of COVID-19 pandemic. Actually, we have the pharmaceuticals industries and doctors have the common interest to do good for our country people, that means the patients. That's why, sir, actually আমরা 1995 সাল থেকে এই ধরনের সায়েন্টিফিক প্রোগ্রামগুলো অ্যারেঞ্জ করে থাকি। আপনাদের সাথে আমরা আছি এবং ভবিষ্যতে থাকবো, কারণ এই সময়টা বিশেষ করে এই করোনা প্যান্ডেমিক সময়টাতে যেখানে এই ইনফরমেশনগুলো অনেক বেশি দরকার, যারা কিনা স্পেশালি কিডনি পেশেন্টদেরকে ম্যানেজ করছেন এবং একই সাথে কোভিড পেশেন্টদেরকে ম্যানেজ করছেন। আপনার এই প্রেজেন্টেশন থেকে যারা আজকে আমাদের এই প্রোগ্রামটাতে পার্টিসিপেন্ট হিসেবে ছিলেন এবং ফেসবুক লাইভে সারা দেশ থেকে যারা এই প্রোগ্রামটা দেখছেন, যারা বিশেষ করে ডক্টর কমিউনিটি, তারা আজকে যে মেসেজগুলো বাসায় নিয়ে যাবেন, সেখান থেকে আমরা আশা করি এবং বিশ্বাস করি তারা পরবর্তীতে তাদের পেশেন্টগুলোর উপরে প্রপারলি ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশনটা হবে। আমরা অবশ্যই ধন্যবাদ দিতে চাই যারা পার্টিসিপেন্ট এতক্ষণ ধরে আমাদের সাথে ছিলেন আমাদের প্রোগ্রামটাকে সাকসেসফুল করার জন্য, এবং অবশ্যই যারা ফেসবুকে ছিলেন, ফেসবুকে আমাদের প্রোগ্রামটা দেখেছেন, তাদেরকে আমরা ধন্যবাদ দিতে চাই। এবং স্পেশাল থ্যাঙ্কস টু মাই কলিগস মিস্টার ডক্টর ধ্রুব, Dr. Adnan, and our colleagues of especially Sylhet region, those who have worked hard to make this program successful. So thank you, sir. আপনার অনেক ব্যস্ত সময় থেকে আমাদেরকে একটু সময় বের করে এই ওয়েবিনারটা থেকে সময় দেওয়ার জন্য এবং সুন্দর প্রেজেন্টেশনের জন্য। আশা করছি ভবিষ্যতেও এরকম কোন একটা প্রোগ্রামে আবার আপনাদের সাথে আমাদের দেখা হবে, এই আশাবাদ রেখে আজকে আমার বক্তব্য এখানে শেষ করছি। আবারও ধন্যবাদ সবাই।
Thank you, Dr. Shamim. So, dear audience, now we are at the end of today's program. Finally, I give my special thanks to all of you, especially to our speaker, Dr. Wahab Khan sir. And thank you, everybody. And we are hopeful